that, I thank you. We'll get started. Welcome, everyone. We appreciate you being here today, and we hope that you will gather up any questions you may have. This discussion came about because, as we all know, Standard 6 provides the maximum number of caseloads that we can hit as attorneys in a 12-month, 365-day rolling period. And many of you that are on this call today have hit that maximum number, and we need to get those adjusted. And while this has been here for over a year, we do have the data in place for our 365 days. So get your questions together as we will wrap this up in fairly short order, and we've allotted enough time to answer any questions you may have about the process. So let's start and we'll start with meeting your actual compliance attorneys. We'll do a refresher on Standard 6, and then we're going to give you ways in which we can have cases removed from your case count to get in compliance with Standard 6. As you all know, my name is Sherriee Detzler. I am the Macomb County compliance attorney in the Office of the Public Defender. Want to advance that slide, Tracey? There we go.
I'm Nicole Smithson. I work in the Oakland County Indigent Defense Services Office.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tracey Martin. I'm the new Assistant Assigned Counsel Administrator with Wayne County Indigent Defense Services Department, IDSD for short. And I just want to remind everyone that I can always be reached by email at tmartin1@waynecountymi.gov or on my cell at 313-688-8558.
Thank you, Tracey. Thank you, Nicole. And here you have it, folks. This is your MOW team, the MOW, Macomb, Oakland, and Wayne team. Nicole, you want to start us off?
Thank you. So as Sherriee indicated earlier, Standard 6 imposes limits on the amount of work that appointing authorities are able to assign to attorneys. Next slide, please. Those limits are 150 felony assignments, or 400 non-traffic misdemeanors, or 800 traffic misdemeanors, or 800 probation violation cases, or 1,856 docket hours per year. And as Sherriee said earlier, a year is 365 days. A year is not a calendar year. So if we could go back one, Tracey. So a year is not a calendar year. So on January 1st, 2027, you do not go back to zero. You actually would have everything on your caseload that was assigned to you during 2026. Next slide, please. So most people do not take just one type of case or perform just one type of service. So Standard 6 lets us know that when attorneys have a mixed caseload, then the limits become proportional. To give one example, let's say that an attorney was really committed to taking 5 new felony assignments every month. So 5 felony assignments every month would be 60 felony cases a year, and 60 felony cases a year would be about 40% of the attorney's caseload. So that means that in addition to those felony cases, the attorney would have approximately 1,114 docket hours, 240 non-traffic misdemeanors, or 480 traffic misdemeanors or probation violations, or lesser of all those amounts in the combination that equals our magic number. Just for your thinking, 20 docket hours is about 1% of your total caseload. 7 probation violations or traffic misdemeanors is about 1%, and 4 non-traffic misdemeanors is about 1%. So just when you're kind of doing your math in your head and planning out what assignments you're going to take during the year, keep those numbers in the back of your mind. Now I'd like to turn it over to Sherriee to talk about when an assignment actually doesn't need to count as an assignment.
Muted.
Oh, Sherriee, you're on
You're
mute.
muted.
I swear I was saying a lot of good things, but thank you, Nicole. Okay, so first of all, I want to preface this by saying having standard 6 caseload limits is not a punishment. And having you here today is not to punish you and not to reprimand you. It is informative so that you understand the how to get this back in alignment so that we're all in compliance. So there are 2 instances where a case assignment that has been assigned to you, while we might have it on our rolls as an assignment, we don't necessarily know that it needs to be removed. So that's where you come in. That's where your bookkeeping comes in. And these 2 instances that the MIDC grant manual has determined is when an assignment doesn't count towards your caseload maximums. That is under simultaneous services. That's number 1. And number 2 is reassignment before substantial or significant work has been completed. So you can read this yourself. You'll get a copy of these, but basically it's a matter of 2 ways in which to have case assignments removed from your case counts. Next slide, please. Let's start with first with the simultaneous services. The questions you need to ask yourself are 3. First, for a simultaneous service companion case, you want to make sure that it's not necessarily a companion case, it's the simultaneous services. So was it the same client? Number 1. Number 2, was it the same judge or for most of the hearings, the same judge? And were the hearing dates the same or mostly the same? So let's talk about mostly the same judge and mostly the same hearing dates. This means 1 or 2 proceedings could be on different dates, but for the most part, the cases are being handled together. Let me give you some examples. First, several court cases for 1 individual client. So even starting out in several different district courts, perhaps you will have been assigned all these cases. You have one case and you have a case in several different district courts. If you don't hold preliminary exams, but rather waive them up, and it's appropriate to do so, then those cases, and we'll get to those in just a minute, but those several cases, if you haven't completed substantial amount of work in the district court level, when you get up to circuit court and maybe you only had 1 hearing or 2 hearings in the lower court, and now they're being all handled in the same circuit court, same judge, same client, then those additional cases, you would count 1 of the cases and the others would be able to be removed from your case counts. That doesn't mean that you're not billing for the services you've provided in those cases. You're billing appropriately, okay? You're dividing it up as you should, but for case count purposes, because it's simultaneous services for the same client, mostly the same judge and mostly the same hearing dates, then those case numbers can be removed from your case count. Okay, so that's one example. Another example I had was an original felony case, and now because they're being charged with a felony or any kind of case, now you have a probation violation. Or say you're assigned in a district court case for a non-traffic misdemeanor, you arrive and you're also assigned now a probation violation. 2 separate court case numbers, so you're assigned these 2 separate cases. So we only know that you're assigned these cases, but if the services are simultaneous, then you ask for removal of that probation violation as a count in your case counts. Next slide, please. And the second way that we can adjust your case counts is reassignment. So what does this mean? Reassignment means that you've been retained out on the case, perhaps you've been substituted out, you've withdrawn from the case, but not a dismissal, because remember, dismissal is concluding the case. These are reassignments. We, as assigning entities, your units that assign to you, whether it's district court, circuit court, felonies or misdemeanors, we don't know once we've assigned you a case whether or not it's been retained out, unless it's reported by you. So if you would like this case removed from your case counts, you have to provide us the necessary information. And that necessary information is whether or not you provided significant work on that particular case before you were retained out, before a substitution was filed, before you withdrew on the case. So we have a couple of charts here for you to take a look at, and they're going to be on the forms that you have to submit in order to have a case removed. But let's take a look at this first one. So for an example, you have a case that was assigned to you. The stage of appointment is, when did you get it assigned to you? It was assigned when the case was in district court. Okay, so let's talk about that. You get the assignment right off the bat. You're the first attorney on the case. It's in district court. At the probable cause conference, it could be removed even if the PCC was previously adjourned. So perhaps you've appeared 2 or 3 times on the PCC. Then it could qualify as an assignment to be removed from your counts because even though you've appeared a couple of times, if you have not done significant work. Then same with the district court at the preliminary exam. So you've gone there, you've reviewed your discovery, you've gone to the PCC, and now you're at the preliminary exam, but you did not conduct the exam. And now you've been retained out or you've withdrawn from the case. Can that particular case be removed? Yes, it can. And that is because not a significant amount of work has been done. Now let's take another example. You're at the preliminary exam and now you've conducted the preliminary exam and now you've been retained out, or now you've withdrawn from the case, or the client has fired you. Oh, that case still counts towards your case counts because you've conducted a significant amount of work. So that's the difference. And if I might have the next slide. Now let's talk about when the case is being assigned in circuit court. It's already gone through the preliminary exam stage. Now you're in circuit court on felonies and it's assigned at the circuit court level. Again, look at the amount of work you're putting into the case. Like, you do have to make your initial contact. You do have to review your discovery. We're not suggesting that that's not significant work, but we're using this rubric, if you will. So if you have one arraignment in circuit court and one pretrial on a case that's assigned in circuit court, keep that in mind. And no motions have been filed, or you've not conducted any evidentiary hearing, then that particular case can be removed. It does not have to count towards your case numbers. But keep in mind, we don't know that. So that's why the process is you're going to learn the process and to have those cases removed. Similarly, if you're assigned in circuit court to a case and you've attended 2 pretrials, so now you've gone to the first pretrial, you haven't submitted any deviations or anything like that. You haven't filed any motions. You could file a motion to withdraw, but the client you just are not clicking with the client and you've not conducted any evidentiary hearings, then that too can be removed from your case count. So keep that in mind. And with that, once you get to 3 pretrials, so now you've gone 3 times, that cannot be removed. So again, significant amount of work. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn it over to Tracey to talk about how to accomplish this removal.
Sure thing. Thank you, Sherriee. Yes, let's talk about the process for removal of cases that fall into the appropriate categories. First step is to complete the appropriate request for removal. There are 2 forms. There's one for misdemeanor and the other for felony, of course, and it's a 2-sided form. It's important to sign the form. For Wayne County lawyers, you'll be able to complete this process completely online, and you do need to sign and date it when it is up on the IDSD website. Now, once you complete the form, and please remember, do not submit the form if you put significant work into the case. That's just a waste of time for you and for your respective compliance attorneys and MACs. So once you complete the form, you email the form to the compliance attorney or your MAC, or in Wayne County, you are going to email the completed forms to the IDSD attorney inbox. That's IDSD attorney at WayneCountyMI.gov. Now, this won't be effective until after May 18th. We're working on the website to make sure that everything is running smoothly, so you'll be able to do everything automated. So once you email the forms to your respective compliance attorneys or MACs, if approved, you want to make sure that you keep a copy of the approved form for yourself and then email a copy of the approved form to all the appointing authorities. So every system where you accept assignments, make sure you send a copy of the form. And now we also offer a number of resources for you. There's a Standard 6 attorney resource document. You can always find that on the MIDC website. On the Standard 6 tab, there's a wealth of information there. You'll be able to find the felony removal form and misdemeanor removal form at your respective county sites. And then there's also the MIDC caseload tracker on the MIDC website. That is a real nifty tracker that you can use to help you keep on top of your cases so that you don't go over the 150 rolling year max for felonies and 400 cases for non-traffic misdemeanors and so on. And then, of course, you can always reach out to your respective compliance attorneys, Sherriee in Macomb County, Nicole in Oakland County, myself in Wayne County. If you ever need any assistance, we're here for you. You know, give us a call, send us an email. If you have any questions at all, we're here to help. And then I added a slide with links and codes. QR codes, that is. You can go to Macomb County's Office of the Public Defender to find the respective forms. I think, Sherriee, you had a special announcement about when the forms are going to be available on the Macomb site.
That is correct. So even if you have cases now that have been retained out, you can start gathering that information, but you will not be able to submit the necessary forms until after June 1st. And that's because, you know, we've got to get all the forms posted for you, but keep a list and get them ready. And you could submit more than one at one time in order to get your numbers down. If you are in that particular area that your compliance is in question.
Great advice, Sherriee. And then we have the Oakland IDSO site. You can always go there to get help and to get the forms, access to forms. And then there's a Wayne County IDSD link. Now there's a QR code. You might have noticed in the attorney workroom, I posted up some notices with the QR code. That is where the case removal request forms are going to live. Right now, that page is live and it's in existence, and it has all of the standards, the compliance forms for the various MIDC standards available right now, and Standard 6 will be added soon. Again, try after May 18th. It could be sooner, but definitely after May 18th, the case removal forms will be available. But that's great advice that Sherriee gave. You can start compiling your cases now to get ready to submit when those forms go live. And I think we're now ready for our Q's and A's. If anyone has any questions, you can put them in the chat or come off mute.
Tracey, I had a question.
Sure, I think it's from Adam.
Yes, hi.
Hi, Adam.
Hi, the caseload tracker, does that tell you, I'm sure it tells you the number of cases. Does it also tell you the number of hours you're at? Because either one of those could cut you off, so to speak, at a certain point.
You know, it does tell you the number of cases, and that's a good question about hours. I'm going to defer to Nicole.
Can I interrupt on this?
Yeah, sure.
So the caseload tracker is blank. You put the information into the caseload tracker. So for example, if you got assigned, let's say it's May 1st and you were assigned 3 felonies and 10 misdemeanors that are non-traffic, and you did 28 docket hours or shift hours, you would put that information into the chart, and then it would tell you what you have left for the year.
I see. So we have to put the info for every case, the hours and the case in there to get a check at where we're at any given time,
You wouldn't put the case hours, you would
right?
just put the case assignment, but you would put the shift hours. And I see that Neil wants to say something, so I will defer to the expert.
You
Okay,
Go
just
ahead,
you
Neil.
just you just said it. Yeah. The distinction is that docket hours, so shift hours, count towards standard six. The hours you work on an assigned case do not. The tracker will allow you to calculate the shift hours, any docket shifts that you might carry along with the assignments, and it factors that into the math. So yes, it does do that.
okay, so the shift hours or docket hours, is that actual court time? What exactly is that? Because you have a lot of hours on a case, some of it's research, but not all of that is counted towards the total. So what is the shift or docket hour?
So it sounds like you're saying two things
Okay,
as one thing. So let me just make sure I understand what you're saying. It sounds like you're saying, where do I put my case hours? And the answer to that is you don't put your case
right.
hours anywhere. You just put one felony or one non-traffic misdemeanor. For the shift hours, it sounds like you're saying, how do I know how many shift hours it is?
Yes.
And I think you should talk to your system to find out how they're recording it. So, for example, sometimes a shift is scheduled for 3 hours, but maybe you only work 2.5 hours. We in our system would report that still as the 3 hours.
Okay.
So again, I would talk to your individual system and see how they're going to report that.
Okay, understood. Thank you, Nicole. My
Sure.
only other question is, I saw the different areas that will all comprise, the total amount that you can be assigned. Does that also include max assignments?
No, it's
Okay,
it's basically just your trial court, district court or circuit court assignments.
okay, thank you.
One thing I'd like to add about Wayne County is we do something, I don't know, maybe it's similar, maybe it's different, but sometimes PVs or VOPs arise out of the shift hours, an attorney doing a shift. And so um, if a PV comes in during a shift, that's not counted separately. But if the PV or the VOP goes into a hearing, a separate hearing, that's counted separately. So just a little aside on Wayne County IDSD.
I think everyone does it like that. That's a
Okay.
good point.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Hi, I have a question. This is
Sure.
Edith Blakeney. Where
Edith?
can we where are we going to be able to review this entire video? And then also, where are we going to be able to access the PowerPoint that was used?
Good question.
So our friends at the MIDC are kindly hosting this recording on their YouTube page. So you will be able to watch the recording at the MIDC YouTube page. And I don't know that there's necessarily going to be a place where the PowerPoint slides live, but I can definitely email them to you.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Any other questions?
We had a private question come through that an attorney wanted to see exactly how we were tracking the numbers, and I just wanted to kind of give an overview of that. I know Neil could probably do the logistics part of that, but I just want to let you know that each unit that assigns you assignments tracks their numbers on a monthly basis and reports them into the Neil and his team at Lara are compiling this information. So, for instance, Nicole Smithson takes assignments in Oakland County. She takes assignments down in, I don't know, Livonia, and she takes assignments in Shelby Township. So Shelby Township's reporting those, Livonia's reporting those, and all of Oakland County's reporting those. So all those numbers are being compiled. And those are the numbers that we're using on a monthly basis to advise you that, okay, we've got 9 months worth of all this compiled data. Now we have more data from a limited number of sources. So if you only worked in Macomb County, I will use my example because I know it. If you only worked in Macomb County for the last 365 days, I can tell you exactly your number of hours and where do you stand. But if you worked in other units in Oakland County, in Wayne County, in, I don't know, Monroe, I don't necessarily have your numbers going back for a full year, but I certainly have your numbers for the last 9 months. So if you've been advised that you're really at the standard, now keep in mind that's 9 months. So if you are typically one that doesn't take assignments very frequently, or you kind of limit your practice during the next spring months, that'll all equal out. But if you're not, and you go at the same pace and continue to take more and more and more when we've advised you that you are way over, then that's going to put you over you're not going to be in compliance at all at any 12-month mark unless you take a pause.
And
I
Sherriee,
hope that answers the question I received.
Sherriee, who is the person in Wayne County that would be able to tell us that?
Tell us your numbers,
Yes,
Tracey.
Yes,
Okay,
that's myself and Angela Peterson. Yes,
wonderful. Thank you.
you're
And
welcome.
I just want to add that there is a gap between, so I know the numbers for what you get from Oakland County, like right now. I could tell you, oh, this is the exact number of assignments that you've received from us. But as far as knowing what your total number is, I'm about 45 days behind because we all get our numbers and then we report them to the MIDC and then they report the whole state numbers back to us. So, for example, they recently sent us the report for March. And so, in putting in those March numbers from other places, I had a number of attorneys pop up at over 100. And with our system, once you hit 100, you are automatically shut down. So, just wanted to make people aware that there is some delay. And so, if you say, oh, I called you and you said I was at 92% on this date, but then a week later you're telling me I'm over 100, that's probably why. Mike, you have a question?
Yes. So in essence, when we hit the pause, or if we max out in September, we're done for the rest of the year. Is that fair to say?
No.
No. No, so I'm glad you asked that. So it's a 365-day year. So every day that moves forward, if you had received an assignment 366 days ago, it falls off.
Wow.
But keep in mind that we're tracking on a monthly basis. We can't possibly track every day. But if
We do.
you do in Oakland County, you have that ability. We don't have that ability. But if you are concerned and you bring your numbers to your compliance attorney, they can look at what they have and what you have and say, okay, you're right. All these assignments happened in the beginning of April of 2025. So those can fall off now.
All right. I have a follow-up question.
Okay,
Please.
go ahead.
Okay. Back in the day, when we were, here's a real life example. I got an albatross case. I've easily got 150 hours into this case, easily. That, if I were doing 3 or 4 capitals a year, I could easily hit 200 hours a case. So if we're looking at these numbers correctly, if we hit the 18 and change, we got problems. Am I right, Sherriee?
No, here's what you're combining. So when we appoint you the felony case, the lifer, it counts as one, right? One of the 150 over a 365-day period. We're not counting the number of hours you have into that case. That's a monitoring system that you have to have internally for your own well-being. right? So the 150 cases or the 1,800 hours doesn't track the 1,800 hours that you're having in that particular case or the cases that you have. It's counted as a case. The hours that are being tracked, those are the ones that are being done as docket hours. For instance, if you did arraignments in Macomb County and did the morning and afternoon, so you billed for 7 or 8 hours for that particular day, those are the docket hours that are being tracked, not the hours you're spending on your individual cases.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Neil, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, not a lot of people do different kinds of practices. So this 1,856 hours that Sherriee was just talking about, that we call docket hours, we call shift hours. There's a lot of terminology. Think of arraignment shifts, think of house counsel shifts, think of, problem solving court shifts, things like that. Time is on your cases. You were assigned to felony, you were assigned to misdemeanor, you work it. Has nothing to do with that. The distinction is those arraignment shifts, those house counsel type shifts need to be counted towards your workload maximum because they're in lieu of assignments. So those are the only hours that are involved in standard 6 when we talk about hours. It's just shifts where you show up and you don't have a client who is yours. You have a set of time that you are covering and responsible for. So that's the only time the hours come up. If you work 400 hours on a felony, case that you're assigned to, fantastic. That client got great representation. That only counts as one felony for standard 6. You can be assigned 149 more.
Can I ask Tracey a question that's unique to Wayne County?
Sure, Adam. Is that Adam?
No, it's Sam. Sam Sherriee.
Sam. Oh, Sam. I'm sorry,
Okay.
Sam.
Yeah. 36th District Court has a gun docket with Judge, what's his name? I'm forgetting. Okay. Anyway, they have a gun docket. And what they do is you get a CCW case, they offer you a misdemeanor, you plead the person, and you sentence that person the same day. Are you counting that, or are those the cases that shouldn't be counted?
Yeah, that counts because there's a plea and a sentencing. It happens the same day. That's a case.
So even though there's no exam, just a review of the discovery and plead them out and get them
It's
sentenced.
still significant work. It
Yes,
counts
and
as a case.
remember what I said,
Yes.
though. If you don't conclude the case, that's when the removal can happen.
Okay.
You're concluding that case. You're pleading and sentencing them.
Okay.
That's
And now-
that's the case.
and then
So
in
Neil has his hand, just a second,
What-
Sam. Neil has his hand up and I want to ask Sam a question. So Neil, and then I'm going to ask Sam a question about what he said.
Okay.
I was just going to say, it sounds to me like that is a docket shift where are you covering
Okay, that's my
multiple of
question.
those? You're covering multiple of those types of cases all in or is it just
No.
how does that
One
work?
case at a time. It's
Okay,
one
then
case
it's
at a
one
time.
assignment.
Right. No,
Yeah.
Well, it depends because it depends on how this is in 36th district, right?
yes.
So it depends on, you should talk to them because it depends on, they may be recording that for our purposes as docket hours, depending on how you're scheduled for that. It certainly counts towards you, but it could be counted as docket hours or an assignment, depending on how exactly they're scheduling you. So I would need to know a little bit more from Ram and his folks about what that is. It certainly counts towards it, but it could count in either bucket. It depends.
Now, in terms of removal, this is my last question. Just in terms of removal, are you telling us now that we have to go back through all the cases we've had over the last number of months to see where we got retained out or whatever, where we didn't do a substantial amount of work and reconstruct those and submit the form? Or are we doing it from this date forward?
So I'd say that's your choice. You don't have to
Yeah.
ever ask to have a number taken off your numbers. I guess the only reason why you would care about this is, let's say you just do felonies and you're at like 148.
Okay.
You might be like, oh, I want to try to get my 148 down to 115.
Okay.
And so you would be the one who would make the decision. You do not have to do it at all. It's your choice.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
But again, I want to remind the majority of people that are, at least the people that I see, if your numbers are, if you've been notified that you've got numbers way over, it might behoove you to just go through your case list and see where you've been retained out so that you can have some of these numbers removed so that you're in compliance when it comes time for the full data, the full 12 months.
Okay.
I have a question. So for these docket hours, say your house counsel and you're scheduled to be on the shift for 3 hours, but you only work 1.5 hours. I believe it was probably said to contact the MAC for whatever district court or circuit court you're in to see how they're recording those hours. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes,
Because
the answer is
I know we
yes.
can only have a certain amount of docket hours. So if the MAC is recording the docket hours as a 3-hour shift and I only work a hour and a half shift, technically I'm losing on the hours, correct?
Well, you're still getting paid for it.
Yes, but as
Yeah.
far as recording the hours, should I ask them how they record the hours? Because I do have some that ask me how many hours are worked on the shift and some of them don't.
Yeah, for us, we will report it as 3.
Mhm.
And so when you say us, is that including Oakland County District Court or Oakland County just
The
Circuit
Third
Court?
Circuit Court, so Pontiac, they report different. They're in charge of reporting how they report. Hazel Park reports how it reports.
Okay, just for
I'm
Oakland County.
talking for Oakland County and the 52s.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Neil?
I want to add to that. So the courts are, or the local systems in those kinds of courts are supposed to report to us the actual hours you were there. So that hour and a half shift that you were talking about is what they should be reporting to us, and that should only be what counts against you for Standard 6. Oakland
Okay,
County
that's
is
what I was asking.
yeah, Oakland County that Nicole was talking about, they're a little bit different because they require you to not double bill, and so if they're paying you for that and
yes.
everything, their plan's a little bit different than some of these other ones. So in most of yours, the issue should be the case that they're reporting to us the actual hours that you told them
Okay.
you worked and worked. That's how they should be doing it.
Okay.
If a place isn't doing it that way, either it's because there's a special situation like Nicole talked about where they're ensuring that we're billing you for the whole time and you can't double bill on that, et cetera. Or a place could be doing it incorrectly. There are some places that have the guidance wrong.
So we would just need to check up and see how they're actually at.
Right, you should check, but they should only be counting the hours you're telling them you were actually there for the purposes of Standard 6, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Last call for questions? Anything in the chat, Sherriee?
No, I think
See,
everything in the
no.
chat has been resolved.
We got
I have
it.
one quick,
Okay.
quick,
Okay,
quick
go
question.
ahead, Ed.
Sure.
Situation happened in Warren this morning where somebody's going to go to jail because it's a probation violation. So they need an attorney, a spot appointment. You handle it for at most 15 minutes, maybe a half hour. Does that count as a full case for a probation violation where you were spot appointed that day and handled it in about 20 minutes? Happens all the time.
I would say yes. Unless it was part of a docket.
Or unless it was part of the other case, if you were handling another case for that particular client. But you're saying just a stand-up probation violation, yes, that'll count as your 1/8 of a case of a felony case, for sure. Or one quarter.
I'm like, don't try to do the math.
No,
It
it's
counts for
yeah.
whatever it
If
is.
I could do math, I would have
The
went to
math is
med
very
school.
complicated.
Yeah.
Okay.
But those do count.
Any more questions before we close? Well, we hope that you got something out of today's update, demystifying Standard 6. And again, Macomb, Oakland, and Wayne compliance attorneys, we're here for you. Don't hesitate to reach out to us if you have any questions, and then be on the lookout for the case removal forms. Oakland County IDSO, those forms are going to be available immediately. Macomb County starting June 1st, and in Wayne County after May the 18th. So thank you for participating. Again, hope you got something out of it. And any final words? I do want to thank MIDC for supporting us and allowing us to use the YouTube platform to get the word out. Thank you so much. Anything
And
else, Sherriee?
Yeah,
Yep,
and
just
thanks.
wanted to, Oh, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, and thanks to Neil for being our fourth presenter,
Yes,
Yes.
thank you, Neil, for coming and participating and
saving the
helping
day.
answer questions. Thank you.
And the MIDC YouTube channel is in the chat. If you want to go ahead and, just copy that link, you'll be able to get the slideshow as well as the video, the recording of this particular discussion.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, everyone.
Chat. Anyone who emails me, I can email the slides too.
Okay,
And I
I'll do the
have
same.
Edith. I have Edith, so I don't need an email from you, Edith. You're getting them.
Okay, I've dropped mine in.
Okay, well, thank you very much, everybody.
Bye now. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay.